What's this? Got something here.
Hello guys and welcome to Was ist das? Today I'm gonna have a look at the game called Battle Brothers, which is still in early access, but it's getting to the finishing line. So I decided to make this video to showcase some of the gameplay and some of the awesome game mechanics that are in this game. So let's have a look at the campaign map and some of the combat. I will just upload this save file. It's just a random encounter. I will show you some of the elements of the combat, which I think that what makes this game quite good, like really good. I don't know, is there something about it that just stands out from lots of other turn-based games? But before we get into the battle, let's have a look at the global map. So this is a global map. This is as far as I can go. It's not huge. This is pretty much, that's it. This is it. It doesn't look big, but you know, when you're actually traversing it, it feels quite like quite large. So as I was saying before in previous video, but you haven't seen it, but anyway, let's just talk about this. Oh fuck. Alright. So this global map, very similar to the Mountain Blade. A lot of people would recognize it straight away. So you have sort of roaming bands of peasants or supply caravans. Those are neutral. And also there are things like orc camps here, or forts and ruins and things like that. So global map also has the villages and towns where you can equip your soldiers and sell your supplies and buy supplies, but we'll talk about it later. So that's just basically the overview of it. You can jump into your roster, which shows your company and their equipment. There's also their perks, which I'll talk about later. So this is your standard formation. Well, mine is, so I got a couple of free shieldmen at the front, center, then the flanks are two-handed guys. They also have spare weapons, and this archer boy also actually he's actually a melee guy. And similar on this side as well. Well, this one doesn't have it, but I do have an archer. This is sort of just the older variation of my strat. I don't use it. It's not the same as what I use now. But anyway, so let's just play the way it is right now. So this is basically the company window. Then you have things like center camera. Guess this will show the footprints, tracking. You can go into the camp mode, which will sort of let your man heal faster and repair equipment. And there's the factions. Basically, just it's not a big part of the game at the moment, but basically just shows, you know, some of the things you've done for a certain village, and they start to become more friendly to you. This is reputation here, or renown, and you know, there's a sort of reputation if you're a good guy or bad guy, basically towards certain clans or certain families. Alright, so basically that's it. This is open menu, and this just shows all your supplies and resources. So I'm just doing all live, so there won't be much of editing done to this video. And combat this is where this game shines. So I'll show you some of the elements of the combat. Engage. Alright, let's have a look. So we got a couple of guys that are visible. The battle screens or battlefields are quite small. They're not huge. There are a couple where you have to find your opponents, which is kind of a little bit tedious. It's basically kind of you know, you kind of like, oh shit, I can find them, and then you have to fight them. You know, it's a bit hard work. So there's a bit of ambience here, so you can hear it. Really cool, especially if you're fighting like undead or like werewolves or direwolves. Now, so the cool thing about this combat, it's quite basic. All right, so you got your tiles, you got different levels. You can sort of adjust that. Doesn't look as good. So basically, you know, you set up your combat guys in different lines, and you take turns. But the turns are determined by the initiative of the combatants, which is here. You can raise the initiative when you do level up. So let's say you know, I want to shoot some of those orcs. I just want to get a bit of high ground on them. Take a pot shot, quick shot. Not gonna have much chance of hitting them. I give it a try. No. Alright, so you know, there's obviously a range where you can engage the combatants. It depends on the skill of your soldier, which will affect the chance to hit, but also things like distance, height, and the way they see that this guy's armed with a shield, so I have a less chance of hitting him. So I'll go for the guy who's a higher chance. I still miss. This is normal for those kind of games where you just randomly generate numbers. Take a bit of a high ground, but stay away. You can't shoot because the aim shot take 8. 8 action points. Now, so what's cool about it? It's quite, it's solid rules that don't get broken. You know, like there's no weird glitches where like this guy will, like, you know, if they had an archer and was sitting here, he wouldn't shoot me here because he just can't shoot me, or like he can't shoot me through like some of the trees or rocks and stuff like that. So that sort of stuff eliminates some of the problematics that a lot of other turn-based game facing, and I like it. So here, this is going to be a tough battle for me because those guys are quite high level. They're orc warriors. They're tough. They're hard to hit. You know, they take a lot of damage before they go down. But I will try my best. But like, just you know, don't say, "Oh, what a noob," when I lose this battle. All right. So as we get closer, as they get closer, you're sort of starting to work out some of the like, you know, there's some of the strategies that you can use in this combat. So you know, there's 2 flanks. We will try to hold this line probably because this is a weaker one, and do our best. So here, this is where equipment comes in. So this guy equipped with a spear, for example, he has this ability at the spear wall, which will repel the attacker when they charge. It's cool. It works on the flanks, I think. It's a cool element based on the equipment. This guy, for example, had a shield, so you can create a shield wall, which will give him protective feature. I don't have AP points to activate, however, so I'll just have to stick with the normal, but this guy has, but we'll go with the spear wall. And this guy is a two-handed, so he can't use anything, well, no any defensive perks, but however he has a dodge, which is one of the perks that I chose for him in the level up, so he will maybe dodge the attack, who knows, we'll see about that. I will try to gain some high ground with my arbaletist or crossbowman. Here it's a bit more problematic. I will take a few pot shots at those guys. Not much of a chance of hitting them, and not much damage because they're heavy armored, they're tough orcs, they don't give a shit. I do have melee weapons for both of those guys, so I will re-equip them. I think I might just give this guy his stuff straight away. He will be more... Oh! Okay, I fucked up here, guys. Should be here. And now I'm engaged in combat. I will lose this guy straight away because he's by himself. He can't retreat without penalty. He'll probably get killed. That is just was a bit of a rush. Because exchanging weapons take all of the action points unless you have a special perk. But we'll talk about later. So we'll hold the line. We're not going to charge. We'll let them come to us. And we'll see how that turns out for us. Oh no, he actually is going for the archer. I still don't want to go forward. I'm a big pussy. So this orc is on the second level with the archer. It's not good. I do have a melee for him, so we might be okay. Let's just stay congregate here. So I see he was gonna repel this guy, but because I put this guy in the line, now he's sort of in the way, and now we're just gonna have to. I'm actually gonna try to push him back, but because they have a high skill, it's not gonna happen. Finally attacking, and he did charge, flanked me. So now I have to either try to pull back, and it's quite hard to do. So got wrecked pretty much. This is probably worse than I expected. I probably made a couple of stupid choices. Some people were like, yeah, this guy's a noob. Like, whatever, fuck you guys. And this game is pretty hard. Fighting those orcs is hard. But so the cool features about this game is that there is no like, unless you make a mistake, the computer is not gonna surprise you with some glitch that will ruin the game. Well, I haven't been exposed to any of them. And now I just noticed, look at his armor. It's part of the face helm, or like, you know, full helm that's on his pauldron, uses at the pauldron. That's really cool. So I like the graphics. Graphics are cool. They're basic, but they're hand drawn, and it sort of gives them this charm. Alright, so here, for example, I have an axeman. He can chop the shields. However, those shields are metal, so they're hard to destroy. Probably not gonna happen. Now it's sort of all gone to shit. I will try to engage with this guy, and this is probably where you want to do the damage. So with his two-handed weapon, however, lower chance to successfully attack, and he took it on the shield, so bad luck. So here in the combat you can swap the weapons. It'll give him a bit of a chance to survive, however low. He can try to hit him off the thing, but I think they stand their ground, so there's no point. I'll just use this attack. Try to get high ground. You can try to punch around the shields. You sort of face the penalty, I suppose. See, this guy doesn't have a shield, so I'm just gonna go straight for the hard shot. It damaged him quite a bit. Still not enough. And those guys are tough. They pretty much, you know, two-hit kill on my boys. Alright, so this is it. Like, this is the combat. It probably wasn't as successful as I hoped. So in this situation where you lost a couple of guys, you do have an option of retreating, which is here. Now you want all the guys sort of in the area here, so you want to try to disengage, but then it will cost you some life. So it's kind of like, I haven't used it. I don't play iron mode, so I like to save at least before the combat, so I can replay until I, you know, either lose one guy or I'll like not lose anyone, but like heaps of people are injured, but at least I survive. This is just my preference and the first playthrough anyway. I might change it later. So let's say we want to retreat. right? And let's do that. I will retreat. Most of the guys will be with the massive injuries, so they will heal over the days, but their morale's gone down. I get no loot. Those guys that have been killed, obviously. Now the cool thing about this, it's they don't always get killed. Sometimes they just get kind of like, you know, KO'd or knocked out. They sort of on deathbed, similar to the Darkest Dungeon. So let's go have a look now into our roster. So everybody has injuries. Some might be permanent, like for example brain damage here, which actually doesn't make him a bad soldier because he doesn't give a shit. His resolve is high, and before that he had a death wish, so there's a bit of a less experience gain, but it's nothing too major. So that's the sad music, you know, we lost. Our morale, however, is still steady, and I noticed that there's something going on. I'm not sure. There's like a, it's not active element of the game. They haven't activated it because when you win couple battles, morale is still steady. So something that's probably going to get changed, and hopefully it will work. Now let's have a look at some of the perks. The perks are cool because, like for example, this one allows 33% chance of injuring a person. So like all those injuries will be inflicted on someone else. They're handy in combat because, you know, it makes it harder for opponents to fight. There are things like 9 lives, which is cool. I use that a lot for my, you know, second, third level guys. So they have a second, they get a chance to survive the critical hit, the killing blow. I'm talking Darkest Dungeon terms, but yeah, it's pretty much applies here. So there's other cool things. You sort of you can build like a very berserkish kind of guy with, you know, two-handed weapon. You want to give him like headhunter, executioner, you know, higher hit points, dodges, you know, a tough steel brow, things like that. He becomes, you know, hard to hit, he'll take a lot of shots, but he will deliver some strong attacks. But that's up to you. I mean, the cool thing about it is you can, there's no classes, so you can build the classes yourself, which is what I like about this game. It's sort of similar to what we had in the UFO games back in the days, where instead of the given class, you can make your own class. I think a lot of old people who played the older games will appreciate that. I think that's just up to the person, up to the player. Alright, so we are back on our global screen, global map, and we got bitten. So let's go back. Yeah, you know, we want to go back to the town and lick our wounds, and, you know, heal ourselves and spend some money, maybe get a few new recruits, who knows. That wasn't a great battle. That's something you probably don't want to continue playing, but I mean, you know, if you play arm mode and shit like that happen, you just have to deal with it, right? I'll just have to take a sip of water. Alright, and we in town, which reminds you straight away, Darkest Dungeon, where you can do all the things that make you make a company stronger or whatnot. So you have the resources, right? So the strategic element of this game is to balancing resources, such as money and provisions and tools. So for example, if you take in on a contract, alright? The contract is to patrol the area, right? I'm not going to take it at the moment. But let's say you got this contract, they want to patrol the area between 3 towns. It will take a couple of days to do it, right? Let's say we have that much money, but our food is low. Let's say, for example, food is low. We won't be able to do it, or we will be able to do it, but we'll be struggling. However, if you have a low money but a lot of food, you'll be like, okay, well, I can ask for more money for the contract as an advance, so you can use that to pay for your soldiers and buy food. So that's pretty straightforward. Some of the negotiations you can do in the contract, I should have shown you guys. but I didn't, and I apologize. So let's talk about the town. You got marketplace where you can sell some stuff. You can buy some new helmets. You can buy the food, or some specialized equipment like tools and supplies, which is important, for example, for fixing your gear after a big fight with orcs. There is also such things as war dogs. They're also good for a certain elements of the combat. Now, let's say we have this padded circuit. I'm not going to use it, so I'm going to sell it. I have enough money. I want to buy one of those padded leather jerkins. I don't know what do you call it. Just get out of my head. But tunics, Alright, well anyway, good for us. So now we have this new armor. We will give it to the guy who has a 70, or like the guy who's got the lowest armor. Pretty sure it's like this archer. I mean, he doesn't need it, but bang. Okay, so new equipment. However, it takes, when he's using it, it will fatigue him 8. So you sort of have to think about how high fatigue is and how much actions they're going to be doing, how much moving, how much shooting, how much fighting. So all these things sort of go into the metagame of this game. So for example, I got the heavy guy. He actually has a quite low fatigue, which is, it's from my older builds. I would probably give him to the guys with a higher fatigue, like for example this guy, because the fatigue here is 12. But he's a tough guy, he's got a lot of health. Right, so that's that. Let's say we equipped our troops. We bought all the stuff we need now. We have things like tavern where you can boost their morale by paying. This guy has a good spirit, it has a perk. For some reason the morale stays the same. Fletcher, where you can buy some of the ranged weapons. Armorer, which actually specializes in metal armor, I suppose. You got some fancy shields here, some fancy helmets, and some good lamellar armor and things like that. Now, the Veterans Hall is not open yet because the game is still in early access, and I'm thinking we're getting to the point where they're about to release that. So I assume that will be a training ground for the troops, because, for example, let's have a look at the hiring. So we got a couple of guys who are quite expensive, but they are about higher level 4. We got some cheaper guys. They're not the cheapest guys out there. Let me just tell you that. This trick here with the hiring is that it doesn't show you the stats. It gives you like a little info which sort of hints to certain elements. He's actually a tailor. I think it gives you a better bonus to fixing things, but don't take my word for it. Have a look at the wiki instead. But let's say this guy looks alright. We're gonna hire him, right? Bang. Now he's in our roster. He's in the front line, which is not what you want to do, but basically there's no bonus for him. But some guys have a perks, like a tough or farmhand. He has real tough guy. So this guy is pretty much useless to us. He doesn't have any ammunition, armor, or weapons, but you can equip him and he's ready to go. He's standing front line. He does have a good range skill, which is kind of cool because it's hard to find them guys. But looking at the stats, you have to upgrade him. But it's still better, in my opinion, better to spending $4,000 on this guy who's level 4, but damn, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. This guy probably would have been a good caravan hand. So that's the hiring part. So you have to sort of juggle a bit between how much money you want to spend, how much training you want to do, and it depends on your roster. Sorry, if you can afford a new guy standing in the front line and getting shot in one shot, because the veterans are the core of your team or core of your company, and you don't want them to die or be severely injured, especially all of them. If you have a couple of spare guys, for example, I think is only 11, 12 people at the roster, and they can actively combat. But then you can have another 6 that are spare guys, so you can set them here, and you can swap them around, and that will allow you to like put this injured guy here, and then get a new guy out there to fight, and get skills, get experience points. So basically, all those different buildings that will, that we can get supplies or get certain weapons and armor, hire troops, and such. There's also a temple where you can heal those wounds. If you go to this town here quickly, we will see that. As we walk down the road between two towns, nothing gonna happen. I doubt it. There's more chance of meeting like an orcs or bandits somewhere in the forests or like in mountain passes such as they're here. But there's not much activity going on, and I think it's still in the early stages. Hopefully that will be fixed, or there will be more activity on the map. Now here we see here Wolfram, Ironjaw suffers infected wounds. So because we didn't take time to heal, we didn't set up the camp. However, it says it's like a quick event. So that's something we will have to look at. I mean, do you want to spend money here in the temple to fix him, which is 130 bucks? I mean, that's a lot of money. It's not bucks, it's crowns, but anyway, I mean, do you want to spend money on healing him, or do you want to just get rid of him and get a new guy? This is something up for the player to make decisions. I mean, this roster is pretty much fucked. Let's have a closer look at the contracts. They appear on the left top corner of the town screen, and they have a different levels of the difficulty. 1 skull is obviously the lowest, 2 is a bit higher, and 3 it's the highest. So if you look at let's have a look at this one, for example. This contract is we'll have to we don't want to go read through all of this, but basically when he gets down to it is there's a cemetery and there's some graves. Basically he wants me to go and kill some grave robbers, or maybe there's some undead. So let's talk about money. Okay, so here he'll make money. He'll pay me 9,930 on the contract is done. Now here, for example, if I need some more money in advance, I can always try to go like that. Alright, so it will give me 70 crowns in advance. That's not much, but still something. I'll try again, and I was able to negotiate 120 crowns, which will pay for a day's wages for my soldiers. And if I'm low on crowns and I need some supplies, that will also help me. So all that you should take into consideration when you take the contracts, and that's part of the meta game. All right, let's say I'll take the offer, then I'll just leave some time to think about it, which will put this contract as available, but I have to sign it so I can look at the other contracts. If you refuse the contract at the first menu, then you won't be able to do it, and that's probably not something that you want to do. You want to always have the options to take it. I'm not sure how long they'll stay available, but I mean, while you're here, you might be able to have a look at this contract, and let's say maybe this contract is better. So there's a certain delivery that he wants you to do. Let's talk about the money again, and let's say we want it more in advance. See, this guy doesn't want to negotiate. He just pays you 1,000 crowns straight away, and you'd say accept the offer, and you say I need time to think. So now you got 2 contracts available. Then you can evaluate your situation with your supplies and make a decision what is more profitable. Obviously this one is more profitable, but you got to keep in mind that it's got 2 skulls, so it's going to be a harder mission to accomplish. One of the things that I haven't talked about is the customization of your characters, or of your soldiers. which are available at the barber shop. So for example, we got this guy Ulf. He's one of the 3 guys that start in your company at the start of the game, or the 3 guys that left in the company. So I made him look like a Jon Snow. That's cool. I can change those colors. I can make him look different. There's not much to choose from, but it's still enough. And I mean, at the end of the day, once you put the helmet on, you can't really see the hair. You can only see the beard. So you can maybe leave beard like that for all the guys, and you can call yourself the bearded folk. Yeah, so that's the element. And then, for example, I'll make him look like that, and then I will go into my roster and I'll find him, Wolf, and I can change his name to, Trolt or something. And I can, title the Great. I was just random, I don't know, but it sounded like actually a really good Viking name. So I mean, you can, you can have different themes for your company. For example, I call my company Black Company, as it's reference to the Glen cookbooks, if anyone knows. Alright, so that's the marketplace. That's the barber shop. There's other buildings such as harbor, where you can travel between different port towns, or there's a temple where you can permanently heal. We already talked about that. So all in all, I like this game. There's something about it. Mainly what I'm interested in the combat here and how it plays out. I like to try many times until I come out on top. There's minimal death and minimal injuries. Other people might want to play iron mode and just go at it and just try to survive in this world and struggle. Other players just might want to play other different ways, and it's all good because you can do all that. So the combination of Mountain Blade, of chess, and of Darkest Dungeon, this works in this game, and I think it's worth a buy, worth a try, worth a buy. It doesn't cost as much, and I would definitely recommend it.